Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight, man? Welcome to the Everybody Eats Story Time Live with your man 50 Grand. You already know who this is. You already know what I do. Must I make myself known again? All right, for those of y'all who know me, I'm Odeja Navarro, aka founder, promoter, producer, and everything else under the sun. Sigue Latino, me of the Cuban variety, Honest Thinking Shirts, Crucia Rum Sounds, Ragazzi Music, I'm So Burnt Orange, Team Footage, the whole movement. Yo, you already know what I do. And we are on the live podcast, hashtag Everybody Eats. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about it. It's story time right now. I'm going to be joined with my partner in a few moments, but let's get things started, man. Let's just kind of do the jingle, the intro jingle, and get everything going. And we've got a treat for y'all tonight, but let's get into it right now. Get some music going. Here we go. Yeah. It's story time with your man. Let's go. Let me get my TikTok people on here too. All right, my TikTok people are on. Or my TikTok's on, actually. They ain't on yet. I don't know. All right, man. What is going on, ladies and germs? It is your man 50 Grand again. Once again, like I said before, Mo Day, yeah, in the building. Yo, with the Everybody Eats Story Time Live. You know how we do. I just want to shout out to everybody on my YouTube channel, people that are tuning in. This stream is live around the world. This is our debut with Story Time. My partner will be logging in here in a minute. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do this thing. Hang on, let me see. How do you make your hang on, how do you go live? Like live? Hang on a second, y'all. I'm trying to go live on my with TikTok. Is TikTok like only a few seconds? Does it let you only go like what, like 30 seconds or something? Somebody help me out with that in the comments. Because I don't know what's going on. I think my TikTok just kind of, let me switch up and see if I can go live on Insta. I want to go live on my Insta. Let me see, where is that? Y'all bear with me here. Here we go. Let me go live. Let me go live on my Insta. I got to switch the camera around though. Here we go. There we go. There's my ugly face. So I just switched it. TikTok, I got to figure out the TikTok. I'm not sure how that does. I think maybe TikTok only does a few snippets or segments or something like that. I'll check that out. Sorry about that for my TikTokers. This is our debut. So yeah, this is story time with your man 50 Grand Mo. I'm joined here by my partner. Here we go. How y'all doing? He is known as Guest. What's up, Guest?
Am I with you there, Mo?
You are with me, and we are live. How are you, boss?
How are you? Really well. I right before we came on the podcast here, I tripped and fell down the last rung of the stairs, and and cut myself. So it's a great way to start off, right? Everybody eats.
I like the getup you got going on there, man. I like the hat and the t-shirt.
Hey,
what's that going on? What's all that?
Well, that's Fresh Cut Salad. That's a band that we like, and Creep Tales, the movie. That's an operation that we're trying to support.
Okay, yeah, there you go. You glitched for a second. So repeat that last line you said. You kind of glitched out a second there.
Okay, I said Fresh Cut Salad is a band that we really like. They've got a long story, a long history. Poor guys, they're from Holland, and they tried to make it over to the United States. They were on the boat on a yacht playing their music, and their passports blew over the side. And so they ended up going to Colombia. They couldn't get admitted to the United States. And then they went back to the Netherlands, and then they headed back, and then the COVID hit. So they're still trying. They got one album out called Food for the Soul.
Food for the Soul.
Food for the Soul. And but they're having a heck of a time. They're trying to tour in the United States, but they're just having a heck of a time to get here. And then the purpose of the T-shirt here, this is Creep Tales. This is a project that we both support.
Yes.
We've been helping guys out on, so
I've been doing good. Putting it all together, man. I'm looking forward to this. Like I told my the listeners and people that we're waiting to. So how this goes, this is live, whether people are tuned in or not. People that happen to be browsing YouTube or whatever the thing is, they see, like, as you see other things that go on YouTube, you can see that somebody's posted a video or something. Mine signals that I am live, so people can just tune in as they please. I was trying to log in with my TikTokers, but it seems like TikTok only does the videos in segments or something. So I'm working on that. So I'm live right now on Instagram, and also on YouTube. So if you want to tune in, you can just click on the link for YouTube. If you need the link, I can post the link here in the comments. Here we go. And so that is the link to the YouTube channel. I was trying to reconfigure my Facebook because a lot of my following is on Facebook, but for some reason Facebook kept freezing up, and so I wasn't able to do it. So I just kind of.
I'm looking at you on Facebook right now.
Am I on Facebook right now?
Absolutely.
Let me edit and see. Let me check the edit, because it doesn't say that I'm live on Facebook.
You look like $1 million, Mo.
Says I'm offline on Facebook.
Well,
there. Hang on, let's see. It's clicking. It's sending the data. It's saying that I'm live. Am I live? Do you see me live on Facebook?
Yes, that's how I'm watching the program, is Facebook.
Huh, that's crazy. Well, I just said I was streaming, so I don't know how that. Maybe it's already connected with Facebook.
Well, and it shows you've been live for 8 minutes and 10 seconds.
8 minutes and 10 seconds. Okay, well, I guess I am live on Facebook. Let me open my page and see what's going on here, because I had it open and it kept freezing. So it looks like it is live. Well, here we are. We are live. Let's do it. Huh? Let's go.
It shows you've been live for 8 minutes and 10 seconds. Got a bit of a delay there.
Yeah, it is a delay. Hang on.
Shows you've been live for 8 minutes and 10 seconds. Got a bit of a delay there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a delay. Hang on.
Shows you've been live for 8 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's being weird right now. I don't know, but that's why that's why I unlinked Facebook, because Facebook always gave me a hard time. But that's where everybody's at. Nobody wants to go to the YouTube. Only a couple people go to the YouTube channel. But here's what I'll do. I'll post. Let me post. I'll post the YouTube link. Let's see what it does here. But anyway, I promised my my guests and my fans I promised my guests and my fans a surprise. Okay, so it's not letting me post. Something's going on here. Facebook's having like some sort of delay.
Well, Mo, you're full of surprises, so I can't wait to see what you're going to do.
Oh yeah, So hang on, let's see what Facebook's doing here. Just click in, then I'll get into that because I'm actually anxious to get that going. Okay, yeah, now it's posting. So there's some sort of a delay with Facebook. Anywho, it posted. So let's see what happens. Let's get back to the live stream, the actual channel. So as I was saying to all my Instagrammers and all my everybody, Facebook, whoever's on here live, yo, you guys know I'm live. I've got some comments. People have already commented on Facebook that they've seen the live. So I guess it's starting to make headway. So what we're doing is one day at a time, one step at a time. We are trying to go ahead and push a movement and a surprise. Without further ado, these just in. Look at this. The Look for Me season 2 and season 1. Look for Me saga, the books. So, yes, this explains the title. Storytime Live. I am going to be doing a live reading of these books called Look for Me, I Will Find You series. The artist is anonymous at the moment. We will make introductions to the artist at a later date, at a later time. But right now, I am friends with the artist. The artist and the author has sent me the books. I would show you the back of the book, but the back of the book has the picture of the author. This is Look for Me, book 1. I can't wait of season 1. I can't wait to start reading. So without further ado, Doug, you want to kind of get into the reading or what? What do you should we?
So let me ask you a question. You held up a bunch of books. You're going to read all of those?
Maybe it depends.
That's a pretty ambitious project.
All right, so I got to admit, now this is a new catalog that I've received. In fact, a couple years ago, when season 1 and 2, and I think season 3 may or may not have been in the process, or season 4, I had to admit I got the first 4 books. They were stolen. They were kindly stolen. That's how we're gonna say it. They weren't robbed for me. They were kindly stolen. Yeah.
Are you talking about they were nickied? Come on, we can say it. They were nickied.
They were kindly nickied from your boy, yours truly. They were such a good read that I had neighbors that wanted to read them and said they would borrow them and they'd give them back. So they borrowed the books and read the books. I almost gave book 4 away, and the only reason why I still have the original book 4 right here, you'll see. Hang on a second. This is the original book 4. You can see my bookmark where I left off in book 4. The books were such a good read. Well, let me finish that thought first, and then we'll get to it. The reason I still have this book in my possession is because I happen to still be reading this book, so I never let anyone borrow it. So my friends borrowed all the first 3 chapters and wanted chapter 4, but I was still reading it, and lent the books out to other friends to read. And so, as we now know, the books have not found their way back to my home. Neighbors have long since moved away. We've gone through a few presidents. And books have not found their way back to my place. So I still have the original catalog, book 4, Everything to Me. We will get to that shortly. Just to prove, look, in the new catalog, there's book 4 right here. This is book 4 right there. Everything to Me, as you guys can see.
What is that on the side? What is that on the side there?
So so I got a CD. I would show you, but it has the name of the author. And like I said, the author is going to remain anonymous for the time being. And then we'll get into all of that at a much later date. I also wanted to show, I just love the photography, like the colors, the vivid colors of the photography. Look at that. Look at how nice that is. This author is the only person I know who can make a graveyard look so serene and peaceful. Nothing about a graveyard to me is peaceful or serene. I don't care how you slice it. Graveyards are not serene and peaceful to me. They just aren't. But he somehow managed to make, look at this cover. Look at the photography. Look at the work. Oop, we don't want to give away things. Look at that. Look at that photography. Look at that work. Can you guys see that? Let me turn the glare down some. Hang on. I've got my overhead. Let me turn it down a little bit so y'all can see. Look at that. Can y'all see that? I'm trying to turn it away from the glare. Can y'all see that? Look at that. Can you see it?
What are we looking at there?
So this is the season 2 catalog, and we'll get into that first. Now, pardon my anxiety a little bit. I am just really anxious to get started in the reads. I really love the story, and I hated that I let the story get away from me for so long that basically it's just been a long time coming. So, and also, if anybody's interested and has logged in, when the fans start really picking up on what we're doing here, let me see what's happening here. What has happened to my Facebook Live? Hang on a second. My YouTube Live. Hang on just a second, y'all. My YouTube Live just gave me a message. It went to commercial break. What's going on here?
Maybe it's time for you to do a commercial.
All right. So, okay. So it was basically resetting. Okay. It reset. Oh, that's right. Because I logged off. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I logged off. We were doing a test run in the beginning. So there's some behind the scenes stuff. So anyway, as fans begin to log in and tune into our lives, they can come in, they can see us, they can ask questions and be able to interact with us and kind of, you know, yeah, if you guys want to partake in this. Also, before I forget, there's some news. Basically, if you guys want to support this movement, feel free to go to the I forget right just randomly what was it the website again, the page. We used to have the Monkey Doodle Cartel website you could go to order anything that you were interested in.
That it was lookformeIwillfindyou.com.
LookformeIwillfindyou.com. Okay. But now you can go to the Novelist, and if you want to order anything, send an email, and there's a PayPal payment thing set up where you guys can make your orders. And also, for every 50 orders that we get, $10 comes to help my movement. So that's a little something for me in there. If you guys, I'm just saying, if you guys want to help me out, you see how it is. You see me. What's up, TikTok? What's up? I mean, Instagram. Sorry. What's up, Matt? Been a minute since Miami. Look at my boy. What's happening? So we're in the building, man. Hip Hop Media. What's goody, man? How y'all doing? Let me wave to my fan base. All right. So this is, like I said, this is not like my other podcasts that I do where we do the music and everything. We are doing a live storybook reading. This is a Look for Me series by a friend of mine who's a great author and photographer and artist. Also, that's the other thing I wanted to say. Eventually, this book is going to become a movie. They're working on getting sponsorships. This is what we're doing to help get the sponsorship that he needs in getting the movie, the books picked up to becoming an actual motion picture film. As you see my partner here on live, if you could show that t-shirt again, there's a story behind that also. That's also a saga, a series called Creep Tales. Those are films. These are mini series, mini books. Almost, if you're familiar with
Creep Tales.
Yes. If you are familiar with the what was the series? Not Fright Zone. It was Tales from the Crypt. Tales from I was thinking more Tales from the Crypt. Your thoughts?
Well, Twilight Zone was the original with Rod Serling as the author, who incidentally, I met Rod Serling one time, and a super nice gentleman, but kind of creepy. He was like 5 feet 3 inches tall, had a little cigarette with no filter.
Yeah.
We talked for a minute. Cool guy, Rod Serling. He created the original Twilight Zone, and all the others, Tales from the Crypt and all that, are spinoffs of that.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's a little history lesson. And I grew up watching Twilight Zone, but for some reason, I always felt like Alfred Hitchcock came first.
Well, Alfred Hitchcock did feature-length movies. Twilight Zone was a half-hour television show.
Yeah.
So those episodes ran without commercials about 23 minutes. What was really cool about Rod Serling is he knew how to just throw the twist in there. You just had no idea what was going to happen, and mess with your mind.
Right. Hey, I loved it. I loved the little mind fucks. I remember one of my favorite stories was The Birds. I don't know if you remember that story.
I do. That's a Hitchcock famous. Yeah.
That was a really popular one. And then, of course, growing up with Stephen King, and all those different movies, that Carrie still has me freaked out. I think that's why I never went to prom because of Carrie. But anyway, but shout out to everybody.
Without going into too much detail, I just want to remind you of the photo shoot that you and I participated in, where we had a model and we're trying to do some still shots to represent stuff out of Hitchcock movies.
Yes,
Psycho, where we had the knife stabbing her in the shower.
Yes, and I remember that.
So we did all of that, and we even went to an oak tree and hung her in an oak tree.
Yeah.
Built a heart.
And the irony was we're in an all white town,
harness around her so that it really didn't have a noose.
Remember the irony?
Yeah,
we're in an all-white town, and a black guy is hanging a black girl in a tree in front of white folks. It was just crazy.
What's irritating is that you told me that she was Middle Eastern. I didn't think she was a black girl. I'd have never suggested that.
Something like that. Middle Eastern, they look mixed to me.
Anyway, but we got great photos, didn't we, Mo?
Man, and we had a great time. It was great fun. Lots of memories. And then, of course, my Taco Bell got nickied, and then hence that story. But shout out to everybody that's tuning in. It seems that we do have some fan base. If you guys want to interact with this live, okay, there is a YouTube link. You can get in here and click on the YouTube link, and then you can interact with the live. You can message, and I'll see your messages. I see people popping in Facebook messages. I cannot see my Facebook because it keeps freezing me out or glitching. So I know that it's doing something because I keep getting notifications that so click that Facebook or the YouTube link that's on my Facebook channel. And let me see. I'm trying to, so I'm live with the Instagram right now. And then eventually I'll find a way to send the link to Instagram like I used to before. But without further ado, I want to get into this live reading. Look for me. Again, before we do, just to rehash, Creep Tales, the movie, it is a mini series that we are filming and are looking forward to. We're looking for actors, anybody that's actor. Now, you ain't gonna get rich off us because we're broke. We're struggling artists ourselves, photographers and videographers and stuff like that. But we are in trade building portfolios for people that are looking to get themselves on film. We're trying to do everything as professionally as we can until we can get the sponsorship and the funding to be able to eventually pay people, because that's the ultimate goal. We want to be able to get paid so we can pay people, because some people do this for a living, and we recognize that, and we want to kind of help that cause. So y'all, if anybody, you know anybody that's an actor or actress that's interested in anything like an artist of any kind that's trying to get involved in this, please leave your information in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as I can in that regard. So should we get right into it? Let's get right into it.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
I'm gonna turn the light down. I'm ready to relax and just see how this sounds.
Let's see how it goes, man. Let's see how this plays out.
I would think if you've got an audience out there that might have a cool drink that they're thinking about popping, now's the time to do it.
Let's do it. Let's get it going.
Get some popcorn out, the whole bit.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm getting text messages and all kinds of stuff right now, man. We're doing the thing. Oh, here we go. Reconnected live. Sorry about that. Yeah, just do me a favor, y'all. Go ahead and click the YouTube link. If you're on Facebook and you're seeing this, click the YouTube link and get live on YouTube. I'll see it all around the board. Go ahead and click the link. Tune in. Click the link. Click that Facebook link. I'm going to post it one more time on Facebook. Here we go. Click the link and let's get in here. We're doing live story time. This is a book series that eventually is going to become a movie, a full feature film. Click that link, y'all, and tune in with us. So without further ado, let's hang on a second. I gotta have my Mr. Rogers moment.
So that means as the guest host, I have to fill time here. Hey, Mo, we really appreciate what you've done with your podcast. You've really been consistent about it for so many years, and it's just it's great. It's great to be on with you.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you for being here. So, in my Mr. Rogers voice, thank you so much for joining me. Switch out my glasses. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Now, isn't that much better now?
You notice I've turned the light down on my end.
Turn the lights down low. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this. I am anxious to reading this book. This is a good read. Let's introduce the story. I keep saying I'm gonna get into it, then I jump. I do that on purpose because I want to build up the suspense. Because it's well worth it. I've already read it, so I already know what to expect. This is a 1,000-year love story, kind of bit of an emotional mindfuck, to say the least, about two people for some reason over the years keep running into each other. Death is just a myth, if you will. People die, but do they really die? And how these people are able to find each other. Well, let's tune in. Look for me, I will find you. Keep that in mind. That is a hidden message. Look for me, I will find you. You'll understand as we continue to read why that is such a significant statement and why it is the title. Look for me. It's look for me, but the whole name is Look for Me, I will find you. Let's get into it. Okay. And of course, I can't show the name, but it's signed to me by the author, as y'all can see. Can y'all see that? I don't know if y'all can see that there. It's signed to me by the author. There we go. All right, let's get into it. Look for me. What a difference a little kiss makes. Okay, so I would do the introduction and stuff, but let's just get into chapter 1. Chapter 1, October 24th, 2008, Canyon Lake, Texas. When you first meet a person, you know nothing about them. You can look at them from a distance and notice a few things, but it takes a while to really understand who they are. That is unless you meet under extraordinary circumstances. Start Cemetery was a small plot on a seldom traveled country road, tucked in the middle of gently rolling hills, in and out of the way, part of the state in southern Texas. Now let me see if I read that correctly. Start Cemetery was a small plot on a seldom traveled country road, tucked in the middle of gently rolling hills, in an out of the way part of the state in southern Texas. Okay, there were a few dozen graves there, some dating back 150 years. Somebody took care of the cemetery, but not often, because page is still brand new, stuck together a little bit, because the weeds had grown up on the fence line and around the majestic oaks that shielded the headstones from the sun. Gray moss hung from the branches and cast an eerie light across the open area as the sun set each day. Feel free to join in with y'all. Yo, be childish. Let's be childish. Papa Bear's reading a story. Let's sit. Everybody loves a good story. Let's get into it.
Hey, Mo, pull your microphone down toward your mouth a little.
Can y'all hear me?
Better.
Let's do this a little bit. Can you hear? Oh, snap. Forgot it screws that way. So I got twisted the other way.
Thanks, Dad.
It was a dark and stormy night. Now, all right. So shall we continue? All right. Can everybody hear me? Let's get some thumbs up. Let's get some emojis as we continue with the read. Okay. So we talked about the weeds had grown up on the fence line and around the majestic oaks that shielded the headstones from the sun. Gray moss hung from the branches and cast an eerie light across the open area as the sun set each day. Long shadows made dark lines across the spaces between the plots where people had stood to mourn the deaths of their loved ones. The sun was pretty much down to the horizon and falling fast when Wallace Laramie trudged across the field and slumped back against the stump of an oak that had been cut and fashioned into a place to sit. Wallace really didn't care if he would be comfortable. He didn't plan on being there long. He was pretty tired, not physically, but he had a weariness about him that people only get when they've given up, struggled, and hoped against all odds, only to be beaten down by to the point of futility. A man can take a lot A man could take a lot of abuse in his life, a lot of failures, a lot of disrespect, a lot of rejection, but there comes a point where fighting just seems pointless. Wallace was at that place in his life. And so he pulled out a 45 pistol, caliber pistol, and held it near the temples of his head. There was a little gray in his once all brown hair, and the skin that looked young for so long had begun to show its age. Is it me or my camera seems like it's creeping? Am I pulling a wire? Let's get that situated. Okay, there. My camera. I think my wire. Oh, my wire was being pulled by something. Okay. So his skin had begun to show its age. Wallace wasn't old, but his dreams had turned into nightmares, and he figured there wasn't enough time left to sort it all out. His muscles weren't what they used to be, nor was his stamina. But it wasn't that which propelled him to his decision, to the ultimate decision. It wasn't that propelled him to his decision, the ultimate decision. As a psychologist trained to help people, he was overwhelmed with problems. Other people's problems, he knew he couldn't fix things. He tried. But the small victories did not make up for the huge losses. He really just didn't want to do it anymore. He was tired of getting up in the morning, tired of pretending to be someone he wasn't, tired of being optimistic for everyone else. He could not be of benefit to people any longer, and his depression was deep-seated. Pulling a trigger just seemed so easy. Hang on a second. Okay. But then, as he sat there thinking over his life, gun ready, he had a hard time doing it. Part of him said, go ahead. Part of him said, just squeeze the trigger and do it. The other part was afraid, a little fight still left in him, but not much. What are you doing? Came a woman's voice out of nowhere, out of the near darkness. Wallace hesitated and looked about and saw no one. He relaxed his hold on the gun temporarily while his tired brown eyes scanned for the source of the voice. He heard crickets as the sun disappeared below the meadow in the distance. Wallace gripped the gun tighter and brought it closer to his skin. What do you figure you're going to do? Save the taxpayer money? Asked the girl a fraction of his age. She had a flat tire and was walking to town when she saw Wallace's car parked at the cemetery. She was going to ask him for a ride, but when she saw the gun, all that changed. Circumstances happen that way sometimes. Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not. Things weren't meant to be. Things were meant to be. Maybe Lori Walters was supposed to find this guy in the cemetery and stop him and thereby change his life and maybe hers. I'm telling y'all, man, this ain't nothing. It gets, this book gets so deep. I can't wait. So change maybe her life and his life, right? Wallace looked around to see the woman step out of the shadows. Her hair hung down to her waist, and he noticed right off how it looked almost gold in the waning light. What do you think you're going to do with that gun? She asked persistently. Wallace lowered the weapon slightly. Well, until you showed up, I was planning on killing myself. Doesn't that seem pretty obvious to you? That's not a very good plan. Who are you, my guardian angel? Lori stepped closer. She was tall and shapely, standing there in jeans with high heels. No, but I don't really think it is. Let's see. I don't think the page is sticking together again. Hang on. I don't think it's such a good idea to shoot yourself. Why not? Lori moved quickly to Wallace's side and knelt and put her head next to his. Wallace flinched. You know, if you pulled that trigger, she said, with a gun that big, the bullet is going to go right through your head and you're going to kill me too. She paused. Are you going to do it? I don't think that's a good idea, said Wallace. You see? We're getting somewhere. Now we both agree it's a bad idea. Wallace lowered the gun and brushed Lori away from him. She rolled back, but as soon as Wallace released his grip, she put her head right back against his. You know, if you do this, she said, the local paper will have a heck of a story. I can see the headlines now. Murder, suicide, and lovers pact. 2 dead at cemetery. Wallace placed the gun on the ground and released it. That's pretty funny, he said. with a tiny smile on his cheek. Laurie sat back, cross-legged on the ground next to Wallace. It's getting better already. We agree it's a bad idea for both of us to die here, and you're laughing about it. Wallace uttered a quiet laugh and tilted his head towards the ground. That is pretty funny. You have to admit it, said Laurie. 2 dead at the cemetery. Look around here. There's probably more than 2 people in these graves, so the paper would be wrong. They would have to write murder suicide in Lover's Pact, 50 dead at cemetery. Now that would bring out the tourists. Damn, can you imagine? Wallace smiled genuinely. Who the hell are you? Well, sir, it looks like I am your guardian angel. Got a flat on my car, and I was going to ask you for a ride. You can't help me if I don't help you. Wallace looked around the grave markers and scanned them one by one. Laurie studied his face. It looked like there had been a tear in his eye, but she wasn't sure in the darkened light. Why are you here, really? She asked softly. Wallace turned towards her. He looked at her eyes. They were expressive and so large. I was going to kill myself, he said assertively. Well, now you're not. What are you doing? Asked Laurie, leaning toward the man. I don't know. You sort of messed up my plans. So are you going to thank me and give me a ride? I suppose I should, except I'm not sure if you've done a good deed or just delayed the inevitable. What? Death? Death's not the end. People go on, you know. Yeah, you're so no, he goes, yeah, so we're told. But what doesn't make you but that doesn't make living any easier. Don't you just love the dynamic already, y'all? It's just crazy how now remember, these are people that have just met moments ago. And this girl's laying her head on his shoulder against his head in an attempt to say, hey, listen, if you're gonna pull the trigger, you might as well you're gonna have to blow both our heads off to be successful. Because the woman doesn't even know the guy. Isn't that crazy? Like, just right off the bat. And a totally depressed guy that's just pressed on his luck, has just given up on everything. She brings smile to his eyes and in his face, and they're just laughing and having a conversation already. This is just great. Okay.
Well, and Mo, you got to see that she's pretty clever. That was a pretty clever way to stop him from pulling the trigger.
Right. And the fact you notice, that's amazing. I mean, like, yeah, and like I said, you just gotta imagine and visualize these little nuances that are going on. You know what I'm saying? Nishan, what's up, baby? Joe, how you doing? So thank you to everybody that's tuning in. This is Storytime Live with yours truly, Mo Deja, and part of the Everybody Eats movement. We are reading the saga, the love story, the 1,000-year love story, Look for Me, as we're planning on getting notice on these books and trying to get them to become a motion picture film. That is real. You can't make that stuff up. Hopefully, I can get you guys to fall in love. I may read the entire season. I may read a few and have you guys wanting for more. And then you tune in, and we can get some actors to act this thing out and get the funding and the sponsorship. We can make this thing a film for everybody to enjoy. I'll say you're welcome in advance. Trust me, you're going to love this. Even if you're a man, it doesn't matter, man or woman. This is non-gender based. This is an altogether love story. Trust me. Okay. So let's see. Who are you? He has, what is it? Let's see. I skipped ahead. That people go on, you know, so we're told, but that doesn't make life any easier. What do you have? What do you have to be miserable about? Asked Laurie as she reached out and gently touched Wallace's hand. Wallace retracted his hand slightly. Laurie reached further and took hold of his hand. Persistent gallantry. Who are you? He asked. What does it matter? We're 2 people sitting in the middle of a cemetery in the dark. How bad can your life be? Well, I'd say it's looking up. Wow, said Laurie. So you're pretty far down. So you see the banter going back and forth with these people already. They've just met, and she's already really into him, touching his hand. He's kind of weird about it, but at the same time, he's not really like pulling all the way back. He's intrigued, but slightly weirded out. So she goes, you're pretty far down. And you thought killing yourself here would save all the trouble of somebody finding the body and a medical examiner putting you in the freezer for a while, and then a funeral where you'd end up here anyway. Something like that. You see, said Lori, that already tells me that you're a smart guy. Why would such a smart guy kill himself? Are you a stockbroker or something? You know that the Dow was just up and crashed, didn't it? People lost billions. Lori's voice quickened. Wallace looked at her and smiled a little deeper. So he's starting to be, you know, getting interested in her. He's starting to be like, she's tickling his fancy a little bit. Like, this girl, you got to be some kind of weirdo or some kind of special kind of something. You know what I'm saying? I'm so depressed. I'm about to kill myself. And I find this strange person who has just sparked my intrigue and has just got me like, he's just already bewildered by her and just already starting to get into her. Like, it's crazy. I think it's a great retribution of wealth, continued Lori. I think it is all orchestrated by the big oil companies and the Federal Reserve. If you ask me, they're manipulating this bust to cover their own mistakes. I'm not a stockbroker, said Wallace, interrupting. Lori looked down at her hand, which had fully clenched his. She slowly tilted her head and looked directly in his eyes. So why are you killing yourself? There was silence. It's a long story. It's not something that you tell a perfect stranger. Lori leaned in towards him slowly. We wouldn't be perfect strangers if I gave you a little kiss, would we? Wouldn't we be imperfect strangers? Lori ever so gently touched her lips to his. Wow. Now, that's the end of chapter 1. What are y'all's thoughts so far? This weird, strange introduction. This guy's about to kill himself. He's sitting in the cemetery. He's just done. He's down on his luck, seems. He's just, what's it all for? Why am I struggling? I'm a guy that's a psychotherapist that's here to help others with their issues and stuff. And here I am with no one to help me, or so he thought. And then this strange woman who happened to catch a flat at the right time pulls up and with some weird, strange, odd determination has stopped him from killing himself and has now kissed this man that she's never met ever in her life before. It's like the book asked, coincidence? Guardian angel? You see the terminology here? Things out of nowhere. Remember that look for me statement. Look for me, I will find you. Remember that. Keep that in mind. Look for me, I will find you. And all this makes sense. So there's going to be a lot that doesn't tend to make sense. Your mind's not going to be able to follow. But if you pay attention and listen as the stories go along, you're going to start putting the pieces together. Okay? Chapter 2. Doug, you want to add anything?
Well, Mo, let me ask you this. What does it say on the book jacket? What does it say on the back of the book?
Okay. So on the back of the book, good question. It says Wallace Laramie was a successful psychologist, but he had grown tired of his patients. He'd grown tired of his patients' problems and decided he'd had enough. When he met Lori, he had no idea he would find himself so connected to so many people with vastly different lives. Look for Me spans 2 continents and 1,000 years, from a battleground in 11th century Ireland, okay, to the artificial world of a 1956 movie star with time in an 1850s immigration ship and 1871 Pennsylvania coal mine. Sometimes you just can't be certain of the outcome of the events that stunned you. Look for Me is a remarkable love story you won't want to miss. So it's pretty much what I told you. Drew, what's up, brother? How you doing? It's been a minute, man. So we've got a couple people that are tuning in. If you guys want to go live, click in, go to my Facebook page and click the it's Modeja Navarro on Facebook. Click the YouTube link. I was going to put it on my Instagram, but I didn't because we had already gone live. Sorry, my bad. I'll do it next time. Anyway.
Okay, so I'm intrigued. I mean, you hooked me on chapter 1. I'd like to know what happens.
Yeah, the weird introduction, but it's weird only because the story hasn't played out yet. And then you'll eventually find why this whole thing has happened, why this girl was just so comfortable in kissing this guy right away. He has no idea, but there's something about, I'll give a little bit away. I'll give a slight hint. There's something about women in this book. There's something with the women. It's with the women. The men are there too, but it's something with the women. I'll just leave that. All right. Chapter 2. Speak of the devil. April 22nd, 1014, the year, Dublin, Ireland. That's about as Irish as I'll get. About as Irish as I'll get. Ireland had been at war for 200 years, battling kingdoms, invaders, rebels, and it was not until Brian Boru emerged as the High King that there was any hope of unity. The last of 12 sons, no one ever thought he would rise to a position of leadership. But as his father and brothers were killed, he rose in the rankings, and eventually his cunning ability to hit the enemy and escape into the forest helped him develop a following of his own. The Vikings were pagans, ruthless rulers, and they plundered Ireland. They burned down churches, stole the lands, massacred the Irish people, enslaved the women, and destroyed the historical relics. Hated by Irish countrymen all across the island, the Vikings waged war for decades to crush the Irish. Brian and his followers were willing to fight the Viking Norsemen, and though they were ill-equipped and undermanned, he made up for shortages with his clever tactics, raiding the Viking strongholds and luring warriors into the forest where he and his men ambushed them. In time, his reputation and his army grew, and he began uniting Irish clansmen against their enemies. Within a decade, Brian rose to the crown of Munster, and from there he would. So, help me with Munster. I'm a little stuck with that. Is that like king? Is that their word for king, or?
Well, in Ireland at that time, they had different regions, and each region had a king.
Okay, so that was kind of the title for king of his region.
That was, I mean, that's the year 1000. That's, you had different geographic territory, and then you have somebody that would be in charge of that territory, and he would have his own army and his own system, basically.
Okay, good to know. So basically, he rose to Munster, and from there, he sought to unite Ireland once and for all. The Vikings were driven out of southern Ireland and maintained influence in the north. By the year 1002, Brian successfully united the country and suppressed the Vikings, who remained and ascended to High King. Prosperity followed, but remaining Norsemen still rebelled, and even though King Brian had advanced in years, Vikings in the north formed an allegiance and threw off the rule of his kingdom. It was in April of 1014 that King Brian assembled an army near Dublin, the last Viking stronghold. There, Vikings brought in reinforcements from neighbors in Scandinavia, and Viking boats controlled the sea. This battle we are about to wage, said King Brian to men assembled on the eve of April 22nd, 1014, will be the final battle. Tomorrow, our 6,000 men will drive the Norse from Ireland forever. The men cheered in support. It would be a great day if once and for all an end could be put to the 200 years of Norse invasion. It would be the Christian Irish, civilized and humane against Viking pagans, foul and vile. All right, here we go. We all march to victory, and we will destroy the Vikings and drive them into the sea, he said. Elderly and battle-worn from decades of fighting, Brian was an incredible leader. Ever since he was a youth, people listened to him and they died for him. He gave them freedom from those who pillaged Ireland, and they passed those victories on to their sons. Too old to fight in a brutal battle, with swords and axes and shields and stones hurled by the hand with slingshots, Brian had passed the duty of leading the men from his home region to his son. An able warrior himself, Murchad led 2,000 men. As the leader spoiled for victory and whipped the spirits of the men into a frenzy, a young fighter from the kingdom of Leinster in Central Ireland, did I pronounce that right? Leinster. Leinster?
Leicester, I think. I don't know.
Leinster. Ireland had his mind elsewhere. Dubhall was a handsome, solid, lean, muscle-hardened from years of labor in the fields, skin tan from exposure, different from most with darker hair and eyes. His parents named him Dub Hall because his name was said to mean dark stranger. So I'm going to say that it's pronounced maybe Dubhal or Dubal, Dubghghal. It's probably Dubal. Okay, so let's just say it's pronounced Dubal. Okay, or you can pronounce it Dubhal, however you want. Okay. He had joined the army in its march to Dublin because of his hatred for the Vikings, but he wasn't a warrior. Indeed, he had never been in battle before. He was good at throwing rocks when hunting animals, as were others in the group, all farm boys encouraged with the ideas of victory and notions of liberty. But Dub's mind was certainly not on the coming battle. Just a mile away was his sweetheart, Mialyn, who who had agreed to meet him once the others bedded down. Her name meant lightning, and there was certainly no question that she was properly honored when her parents selected it. I told her I would be there once everyone goes to sleep, Dud said to his friend Peadar, as they laid resting outside earshot of those preparing for battle. Cannot leave now, said Peadar. I have to go. I told her I would meet her in the grove by the river. We are going into battle tomorrow, said Peadar forcefully. Precisely, said Dub, and I promised her that I would meet her before the battle. Dub rolled to his side and leaned up on his elbow. You need your rest. We all need our rest, argued Peadar. I am not weary, Dub said, looking towards the ember of a small fire they had built within their camp. Other men sat about or rested gently, talking too anxiously to sleep. It was too dark to do anything except wait for battle. It was the longest wait of a lifetime. I'm going, announced Dub. Peadar reached out and grabbed his shoulder. You cannot. I'll be back before daylight, said Dub. It is unwise, said Peadar. Then unwise it will be, returned Dub. I am going to meet Mialyn, or I'm going to see Mialyn. Dub popped up on his knees and then looked at Peadar. I'll be back, my friend. Do not fear for me. Godspeed, said Peadar as Dub rushed off into the darkness. A mile away, Mialyn crouched at the base of a huge tree. Its sweeping limbs hung over the water. The moon had risen, and there was a glimmer of moonlight dancing in the gentle ripples. She was scared. Just a short distance away were thousands of men ready to do battle. She could be found at any time by a sentry. But her love for Dub was absolute, and her chance to meet him was worth the risk. Mialyn looked around in the darkness. She had pretty eyes and beautiful teeth. Her hair was sandy, and in the moonlight it seemed to shine. It was a warm evening, but she felt chilled. She was scared, mostly scared for herself and scared for Dub. Would he make it? Could he make it? She had already waited for what seemed like an eternity. Maybe she should go. He would not be able to visit her the night before the battle. He told her it was the perfect time because everyone would be concentrating on the battle and they would not miss him. But maybe it was impossible to leave the rest of the men. Mialyn felt butterflies in her stomach. Dub was such a wonderful man, and she could not ever get him out of her mind. She had thoughts about him all the time, thoughts that she didn't know she could have, thoughts that weren't proper for a couple that had not yet married. But she couldn't stop herself. He made her feel wonderful inside, and and he was all she could talk about and think about and dream about. There was a crack. Mialyn crouched lower to the ground, to the base of the tree. She tried not to breathe, but she could feel her heart beating out of her chest. Slowly, she scanned the river in front of her, desperately looking for some movement, any movement. Was it him? Was he there? Or was it a soldier? What would they do if they found her? She tried not to breathe, but then gasped from holding her breath. Psst, Mialyn, is that you? Dub? There's no one here, said Dub, softly, still in the darkness. I checked all around. Dub? Dub stepped over to Mialyn, who jumped up and wrapped her arms around him. Oh, Dub, I was so scared. I was so afraid. Dub smothered her with his arms and body. Do not be afraid, Mialyn. I am here now. Oh, I love you, Dub. I love you. Oh no, that's still her. Oh, I love you, Dub. I love you. I do love you. We're safe now, Dub cradled her. She started to relax. I'm so scared, Dub. I'm so afraid. We're together now. That is what's important. It is only us here. Nobody else is here. Dub held her without speaking. Meowlin felt his warmth. She slowly relaxed. They scooted down to the ground, with Dub leaning against the tree, and pulled Meowlin up close to him. He could feel her heart beating through her back. Her breathing had calmed as he held her from behind. I love you too, he whispered softly. Meowlin reached her right hand over to his left hand and gently caressed the back of it with her thumb as he held her. His hands were strong and powerful and rough from work. Hers were sleek and slender and soft and smooth. I missed you, she said. The soldiers have been passing through the village all day. I thought I would see you, but there were so many. There are thousands, said Dub. Many thousands, and King Brian is here. Meowlin turned towards Dub. You saw him? No, but he's here. Everyone is talking about it. He will be with us in battle tomorrow. He will be right with us, he said with some excitement. Why must you fight, said Meowlin, sadness in her voice. You are no warrior. They have taught me. And besides, I will not be in the heavy fighting. All of us from the farm stay on the sides, behind the men with shields, and we throw rocks at the other army. We're very good at our rocks, and disrupt their attention and allow our men to attack. It's dangerous, said Meowlin, still caressing the back of his hand. It is the only way, but it's not like the men who have to fight with their swords. We are far behind them. Even the javelins cannot reach us. What if they break through the ranks or break through the lines? They will not. King Brian is with us, and he has won many battles. Our men will drive the Norse into the sea. And you could be killed. Why do you say that? I dreamt it, Meowlin said softly. I'll be fine. I swear I felt it. I dreamt that something awful would happen to you. Dub was silent. He moved his hand slightly. Touch me, said Meowlin distinctly. That's as sexy as I'm going to get. Touch me. Dub lightly kissed the back of Meowlin's ear. She leaned towards him. Meowlin picked up his hand with both her hands and placed it on her breast. I want you to touch me. Dub softly cupped his hand. He moved his fingers ever so gently. I love you, Dub. I love you too. You look so young, she said, as she gazed at him in the moonlight. You make me feel so wonderful, said Dub. We will marry, said Meowlin. As soon as the Norse are driven out, we will marry. That will be soon. King Brian says we will win tomorrow, and that we will have liberty for Ireland. Dub, what do you think of the way I look? I love how you look. No, have you ever seen me? Touch me all over. Dub squeezed Meowlin a little harder. Then he reached up with his other hand and touched below her breast. I want you to love me. I do love you, said Dub. Love me here now. Meowlin, we are not married. Boy, you better love that woman here and there. You about to go to battle. You fixing to die. Love her.
Little editorial comment there, huh, Mo?
Yeah, I had to. We're not married. We will be. You can love me. Meowlin unbuttoned the top of her dress and directed Dub's hand onto her bare skin. She felt his caress as he rubbed slowly and lightly touched her. Now, I had to pause here. This is getting a little heated. But I wonder, as I'm filled with question, is that a good idea to take a man's breath and his knees away from him before battle? Because everybody knows where Meowlin is headed here. She wants him to love her in a different way. That takes a lot of energy. And remember, Dub said he wasn't tired. He will be.
Well, I'm still kind of hung up on the idea that he throws rocks for battle. I mean, so he and a bunch of his buddies stand back behind the lines and they throw rocks.
And they stand so far back.
Rocks coming. I mean, is that their version of artillery back then? I mean,
well, no. As he said, it was a great deterrent. They were so preoccupied with the rocks that you don't know where the rocks are coming from. You're trying to protect yourself from rock that you're not paying attention to men coming up with you with javelins or spears or even swords. You see what I'm saying? I thought that was a brilliant tactic. If you ask me, I think that's brilliant. But I might add another question, and you'll find it interesting. So the question, right? What's the question? Well, I'm glad you asked. The question is, if he does get killed in battle, is she to blame? This guy is well rested. He just wants to see his sweetheart and then go back to camp to prepare for battle. But she wants something else. She has another thing in mind. She wants Dub, all of him. Doesn't matter if we're married or not.
Okay, but think about this. How old are these people?
Kids.
They're kids. Okay, so why is he willing to leave the battlefield to go see her? I mean, he's driven.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the way it works.
Yeah, that's the way that works. And then when you got a woman as enticing as she, enticing him further by unbuttoning her dress and blouse, putting his hands in different areas of her body, and telling him that she wants him to have his way with her, have her. Is that a good idea before battle? That's all I'm asking. So if Dub does get killed, is it her fault? Y'all think about that for a little bit.
Well, there you go. That's an excellent question.
Let's continue reading. All right. So she wants him to love her. She unbuttoned the top of her dress and directed his hands onto her bare skin. She felt his caress as he rubbed slowly and lightly touched her. Oh, Dub, I love you so much. Dub turned her face towards him and kissed the side of her mouth. She responded by turning towards him to kiss him with desire. So now it's a very passionate kiss. It's getting very deep. There's petting and touching and groping and kissing going on. It's getting very intense. Remember that question I asked y'all. When her lips touched his, she felt a tingle she had not known. He kissed her several times and slowly, then deeply. His tongue touched hers momentarily. Mialyn felt warmth in her body, and she kissed back with her tongue on his lips and against his tongue. Dub rubbed her lightly. Dub felt his heart beating in his chest as he responded to her with his own physical feelings. It's getting a little graphic. Touch both my breasts, as I said, it gets graphic, said Mialyn as she pulled Dub up with her. She pulled open her dress. Dub opened his shirt, and the two lovers hugged tightly with their skin touching. Dub grasped her with his hands and lightly held her. He moved his fingers around to feel all parts of Mialyn. Lean against me, she said a little louder. As he did, his groin met hers, and they felt each other through their clothes. So needless to say, there's no ED problems here.
This is a point where you got to cut to them laying in the moonlight smoking cigarettes.
Smoking cigarettes at the end. And let's just say this isn't a Viagra commercial. There's nothing wrong with Dub. Dub is fully functional and ready for battle of a different sort. All right. So their groins begin to touch, and now they're getting really intimate. They're touching each other all over. And he felt through her clothes. Kiss me everywhere. Dub held his hands and placed and kissed one of her breasts. How he whispered, gently, she said. Dub leaned towards her and lightly bit at her, first one side, then the other. He could hear her breathing, and her chest rose and fell a little faster. Dub removed his hands from Mialyn's breast and said, I have dreamt about this. Feel behind me, said Mialyn. Dub reached down and grabbed both sides of her rear. So I love how she speaks, feel behind me. That's her Irish for grab my ass. Like, get into this, Dub, as she coaches him. Dub reached down and grabbed both sides of her rear. He drew her towards him. Now, if these guys get any closer, they're going to be in the same skin. How much more close can these people get? They keep drawing each other closer and closer and closer. I'm getting claustrophobic. She could feel him. She could feel him on both sides of her and wanted him more. Suddenly, he spun her around and with one hand reached up to her breast. With the other, he felt her thighs. She breathed out with pleasure and uttered a little sound that stimulated Dub. Dub and Mialyn formed a union that night, a bond that would go with them forever, a closeness that was so intense as to never be forgotten. In his arms, M'Allen looked up at him. Are you going to pass me that cigarette, big boy? My spirit walks in the woods with you, she said. I will always be with you.
Now you got to back that off, because there's no cigarette in one. What was it? 1,000? What was the year?
1014. 1014 was the year.
So you added that, right?
I added that. I just embellished that a little bit. Just added a little something. My spirit walks in the woods with you, she said. I will always be with you. Look for me, Dub said. I will find you. And that's it. That is our time. Our time is up. If you guys want to continue the story, look for me. I will find you. The storybook series every Tuesday at 7 p.m. If this thing picks up traction, maybe we do it just about every day or every other day at 7 p.m. I want to first thank my partner for being on here and sharing the book with me. I look forward to us reading more and more and more. I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Hey, Doug, our friend Jordan's on. You got to be kidding. She's on live. Let's say hello to Jordan.
Excellent. Hi.
What's going on, Jordan? How you doing, girl? She's throwing up some hearts. And again,
how are you?
If people want to be on here and kind of interact, you can click the YouTube link. I'm gonna post it so that people can follow the YouTube link. You can get on live. You can also get in live and get into the panel, and you guys can ask questions and kind of go at it that way. But like I said, this is the first day that we're doing this. This has been I want to say maybe 2 or 3 years coming. We've been wanting to do this for several years, maybe even 4 years. What, 2019, maybe 2018? We've been meaning to do this. Your thoughts, Doug?
Oh yeah, we've talked about it a long time.
Yeah,
let me ask you a question. How many pages did you read?
So far, I'm 26 pages in.
And how long is that first book? How many pages?
Okay, so chapter 23 begins page 27. And so the entirety of the book is 266 pages. But it talks about the reviews, the synopsis, it talks about the author, and it kind of has the genesis of the story. It goes about 10 chapters, and I believe that ends 254 pages. So, oh yeah, we've got some reading to do, but believe me, it seems long, but it's not. It'll pass by, and as time goes on, maybe I'll read more chapters. Like I said, this is the first day. We'll start off with doing about 2 or 3 chapters a reading, just to kind of get things going. I encourage everybody to tune in and get in with us on this. It is a very good read. I encourage people to buy the books. I would, if I had my way, if I got to be honest.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, in terms of links, see, we really didn't get started reading until after a half hour the program had gone. So,
right.
If say you read about 25 pages in a half of an hour, that means you could read 50 or 60 pages in an hour.
Probably.
I'm just kind of calculating in my head. You held up a bunch of books.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like the old radio programs. You don't want it to end.
No, you don't want it to end.
You want it.
Yeah, no, it's the journey. This is the journey that we're on. It's the journey. It's good to use your imagination, and that's what it does. It really triggers the imagination once you've read these books, and trying to visualize. I mean, think about it. What's Ireland back in the year 1014, in the year 1004? What does that look like? What does Scandinavia look like? Modern day, what's it? Sweden and Switzerland and stuff like that, or Sweden and then Finland and all that, the Scandinavian countries and stuff back then. What do people look like? What are they wearing? What are the times? What is it all about? And imagine being in love in a war-torn country, where you just want peace and everything. And then 2 lovebirds who may never see each other again. They consummate their love with the hopes of maybe seeing each other again, but with the understanding that we might not. You get what I'm saying? Imagine what's going through Dub's mind as he's just made love to the love of his life and his girl, Meowlin, who has just made love to the love of her life. And now she has to send him off to war, and he may or may not come back. You know, just the way that goes. The way they met. We started with a story with Wallace and Lori, a guy who's down on his luck. He's about to kill himself. And this strange girl who happens to flatten her tire right by the graveyard where he's about to blow his brains out, comes up to him, talks him out of killing himself by laying her head against his and saying in some weird, bizarre, yet incredible and fantastic strategy to deter him from blowing his brains out, saying, hey, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to blow my brains out too, or you're going to end up blowing my brains out. Now, do you want that aggravation? Do you want to do that? You know?
Yeah.
So and the way she sparks his intrigue, and the love story continues and it goes on. It's just going to get deeper. It's just going to get better as we read. I encourage, if I have my own way, like I was saying before, I would encourage that you guys buy the books, and that way we could do a read along. You could read along. I would even love for people. I would even go as far as say I'd love for people to tune in and read with me. You know, you read a couple chapters. Whatever we do, I want to get this book out there. I think it's worth. I'm gonna say yes, I am biased because I know the artist and the author, but I have also read the books. I've read season 1, and I'm rereading it with you guys, so I know what goes on. It's been a few years, but I still vaguely remember what happened. So I've kind of go ahead.
What's intriguing to me, Mo, you and I like making movies. And what would it be like to film these various scenes? I mean, we've only got 2 settings so far, but what you read on the back of the books, there's a bunch of settings. And, the historic accuracy that you would have to put into a motion picture would be challenging, but can you imagine the experience an audience would have if they sat in the theater and they got to see all of that?
Oh yeah.
So one of the problems Hollywood has today is they're making movies without stories. So what you were telling me now, how do you turn that into a movie? I mean, that's a good question. But yeah, so far so good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And to add to that, the person that I would love to co-direct and co-produce this, of course, with the author being the executive producer, would be the guy who did the TV series. You guys might be familiar, Game of Thrones. If you guys remember that, the graphic scenes and the battle scenes and the love scenes and the everything, I think that producer would make bringing this story to life really fantastic. I think just imagine if they could just let loose their imagination and just add stuff to the story to make the story just really 3-dimensional and stuff like that would be fantastic.
And the guy that I like, based on the movies I've seen him do, a guy that could probably meet the challenge of the Look For Me series would be Ron Howard. I think
Ron Howard, yeah, he's a very good producer, good writer, director. He's very hands-on with his actors too. He's very patient with them in a lot of ways. He sees you as something. He has a vision. If he asks you to be part of his project, he's already visualized you. You've already become part of his vision, and he coerces you and helps you to get to where he needs you to be, and places you so that so that you help to tell his story. Yeah, I grew up on Ron Howard as a kid. What was it? The Howdy Doody Show or whatever it's called. What was that show?
He played
the Andy Griffith Show.
Griffith Show.
Yep. And so we don't want to age ourselves. We're like fine wine.
We only saw those in reruns on YouTube.
Yeah, in the 80s. when we were kids in the 80s, we saw reruns. But yeah, again, if you guys are interested, it would be nice of you guys to go ahead and go to the what was it, The Novelist? Help me out, Doug. Remember The Novelist, where you can go ahead and purchase the books. Go ahead.
Look on your phone. You got a text message.
Well, if I go to the text, it'll close out my my Instagram.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. It's The Novelist, THENOVELIST, The Novelist at yahoo.com.
The Novelist at yahoo.com. If you guys log in there, you guys can make your orders there and purchase your stuff through PayPal, ordering the books and so forth. And it'd be nice for you guys to read along with us, or just read it for yourself, you know, on a quiet afternoon or whatever. Just take up some reading. I mean, we got to get back to reading anyway, man. Get back to our imagination. I think reading helped us to be very creative as a society. I think we're running out of ideas. We're rehashing a lot of old ideas and watering them down anymore, kind of taking away from their originality anymore. We've got to, I think it'll open up people's brain waves and re-expanding and being reinventive and recreative again, as far as artistic wise. Your thoughts?
Just to clarify, on The Novelist at yahoo.com, that's an email address. And what they do is just send an email saying they're interested, and then somebody will communicate with them and tell them how they can make the purchase. And then the cool thing, I think, is that Everybody Eats gets $10 for every gift box set that sell. So you held the gift box up earlier.
Yeah.
So that.
And I'm happy to hold it up again, just so you guys see. So I've got mine, because this is the gift box. It comes with so much stuff. There's so much stuff in it, but this is the gift box. This is chapter 1, season 1. Can y'all see that? This is. I can't give away the author here because the author is going to be making a surprise appearance. Oh snap! So this is season 2.
Anyway, the deal the publisher worked out with Everybody Eats is that if people listen to this podcast and they purchase either season 1 or season 2, they're each $50 a piece, and Everybody Eats will get $10 out of that. So I mean, that's pretty good to support the podcast.
And I really appreciate that. You know, I wasn't asking for that, and when that was brought to my attention, it moved me. I really do appreciate that. And just help the cause, help the movement. And you know, I really believe that this is something that's going to pick up traction here. I am not in any hurry, because this is a journey. This is a journey that the Irish is kind of come on. I'm trying to become a Black Irishman. So no, it's all about the journey, y'all. It's about time traveling back and forth through time, and in a love story that's just unbreakable, indestructible against death and against all the odds. You're gonna love it. I am thankful on my behalf, on behalf of Everybody Eats and Team Footage. I've got my partner here on behalf of the Fresh Cut Salad and Creep Tales. We are looking for actors for the miniseries film for Creep Tales the movie. So if you guys are interested or know anybody that's interested, please hit us up. We're doing trade-off. We're building portfolios for the time being until we get the sponsorship in being able to pay our cast and crew. And again, we've been saying that for a while because that's what we've been working towards, and hopefully we're going to get to that area. Any closing statements that you might have, sir?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to be part. It's great to hear you read. You know, you really are an actor, and it comes through when you start reading. And so that's nice. I'm anxious to see you act again. I know on the Creep Tales we had something scheduled for this summer that got interrupted. We had literally an actor, come from Europe to be part of one of our episodes, and she got called back by her employer, and she had to leave early.
Yeah. Yep. And so, we'll get that
upon departure. She said, "Don't worry,
we'll get that matter of time." Like I said, I'm not done with my acting chops. I took a break for a lot of reasons, to build my brand, to build my craft, you know, raise my kids and family stuff. And, to really hone in on what it is that I love doing. And eventually you might see me on some commercials again. I go back and talk to my agent in getting some of that going, but also with your projects too. I'm interested in being part of editing some of the projects that you're working on and everything. And so, yeah, I look forward to it. So remember, every day, Tuesday, 7 p.m., be there or be left behind. You're going to miss out the Look For Me series, Story Time Live, Everybody Eats, with my man, Creep Tales, the movie, Fresh Cut Salad. I want to thank the artist and the author for allowing me this privilege and giving me one of the sets, the 2 seasons. I believe how many seasons do you remember how many seasons there were so far? There's 3 seasons or 4 seasons. How many seasons?
I think there's 3, and there's talk that there's work on the 4th.
So there's a lot.
This literally could turn into a television series.
Oh, easily, quite easily. And I really see this picking up traction. So we're going to continue to do what we got to do to push this thing. I am going to, again, like I said, I'm going to basically continue to keep reading until we start building up a fan base. This is how I did the Everybody Eats podcast. I would just podcast. I had no audience. I just would podcast and push it. And eventually people started clicking in. It's like, what's Mo doing? What's this? Mo, what do you got going on? And people started tuning in. I started doing live interviews and stuff like that. And eventually I want to start having that when we get the following. I want to start putting people on the live podcast and be able to have them ask their questions, speak with one-on-one with the author, talk about maybe potentially being cast in the series for Creep Tales, and potentially the motion picture film for the Look For Me series, depending on how that plays out. So we've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff that we can look forward to, but it's not going to happen today. It's going to take a little bit. It's going to take some time, one step at a time. Like I said, it is a journey. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not a race. It's a marathon. And I look forward to where this marathon, there's that Irish again, this marathon leads. So,
all right, Mo, in conclusion, do this for us. Go to chapter 3 and read the first sentence only as a teaser for next week. I'm kind of wondering. I'm wondering where this is going.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, chapter 3, y'all.
And next week we will.
Chapter 3, next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Tune in. April 23rd, the year 1014. Clontarf, Ireland. For centuries, in which man had settled his differences on the battlefield, conflicts began at first light and ended when the night struck away to the day. What happens next? Well, you got to tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. I'm telling you, Story Time Live with Everybody Eats. I am Modeja Navarro. This is my partner, Guest. We're going to call him Guest for now because that's what it says there. And I can only go by what it says there. Can't be wrong. If it's there, it's got to be right. Guest. Thank you so much, Guest. I look forward to you guesting, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't know how to type it in. I'm sorry, I'm not too good on the computer stuff, but so that's what you got, Guest.
Yes. And so he'll be our guest until we can give him a clever name.
Until you replace me with another guest.
With another guest. So I look forward, and I want to thank everybody that has tuned in, all the people that have commented on Facebook, everybody that has tuned in on my Instagram. I love y'all. I love my fans. I still got fans from the original podcast, Everybody Eats. It's still an Everybody Eats podcast, except this is now story time. I'm not promoting music right now. I had to let the music go a little bit. There's too many egos, too many attitudes, and I just can't do negative. I'm doing positive. So I'm just putting the music aside for a minute. And we're just going to do this and just see where this takes us. And I look forward to it. So without further ado, next Tuesdays, weekdays, 7 p.m. Tune in. Everybody Eats Storytime Live with my man, Guest. I'll see you on the next one. We are signing off.
Hey, good night, everybody.
Good night. Take it easy. Thank you all again.